Have you ever faced a test so profound, so heart-wrenching, that it felt like the very ground beneath you was shaking? Well, today, we're going to journey back to a dusty mountain path to witness one of the most staggering tests of faith ever recorded. It's a story of a father, his beloved son, and a command from God that just defies all human understanding. This is the story of Abraham and Isaac. Just imagine the scene for a moment. After decades of prayer, of waiting, of watching his wife Sarah's hope fade and then miraculously return, Abraham finally holds his promised son Isaac. And right there, in all that joy, God speaks. And the command? It's like a thunderclap that shatters the peace. It seems to contradict every single promise God had ever made. Take your son, your only son, the son you love, and offer him as a sacrifice.
You have to understand, this wasn't just some random test. This was a strike at the very heart of Abraham's hope. See, Isaac wasn't just a son, he was the living, breathing proof of God's covenant. He was the future. And now the very God who gave him was asking him back.
So how does this father respond? The scriptures tell us, early the next morning. There's no recorded argument, no desperate plea for another way, just a quiet, heartbreaking, and immediate obedience. What kind of faith is this? It's a faith that trusts the character of God even when it can't possibly comprehend the command.
And so the journey begins. It's a 3-day walk under a silent sky, and every single footstep is heavy with an impossible burden. Can you even imagine the thoughts, the prayers, the heavy silence between father and son on that long road to Moriah? Every step was an act of faith, a step into a darkness lit only by a trust that defied all reason.
3 days, that's so much time to think, to doubt, to turn back. Day 1, the heavy departure. Day 2, a long and silent walk, with all the unspoken questions just hanging in the dry air. And then, on the 3rd day, Abraham lifts his eyes and he sees it in the distance, the place God had chosen.
Now, as he prepares for that final, lonely climb, Abraham says something truly astonishing to his servants. He says, "We will worship, and then we will come back to you." Did you catch that? We. Even now, staring into the abyss of his greatest loss, Abraham is clinging to a belief that God is a God of resurrection, that somehow both he and Isaac would return.
And then comes the question, the one that must have shattered Abraham's heart into 1,000 pieces. Isaac, the boy he loves, carrying the very wood for his own sacrifice, turns to his father with pure, innocent logic. "Father, where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" That question just hangs in the mountain air, a testament to a son's trust and a father's agony.
Abraham's reply isn't an explanation, it's a declaration. It's a prophecy born from a heart that refuses to let go of God's goodness. God himself will provide the lamb, my son. He is speaking a truth he cannot yet see, trusting not in his circumstances, but in the unwavering character of his God.
So they arrive at the place God had shown them. The long journey is over. Right here, on this lonely summit, under the gaze of heaven, faith will take its final, terrible step. The time for walking is done. The time for worship through surrender is now. Just watch now, with reverence, the agonizing deliberation of his actions. Each one is a fresh act of surrender. He builds the altar, stone by painful stone. He arranges the wood, a funeral pyre for his own future. And then, the unthinkable. He binds his beloved son Isaac and lays him upon the wood. Can we even begin to fathom the cost of this kind of obedience?
And this is the climax. The knife is in his hand, raised high. This is the point of no return, the absolute pinnacle of obedience. Abraham has held nothing back. He has given everything over to God, even his most precious promise.
But in that very moment of total surrender, when all hope seems lost, heaven breaks the silence. You see, the test was never about death, it was about devotion. It wasn't about God taking a life, but about revealing a heart that was completely and utterly his.
A voice thunders from heaven. "Abraham! Abraham!" The angel of the Lord calls out, stopping his hand in midair. The test is over. The command is clear. Do not lay a hand on the boy. Can you just imagine the wave of relief, the sheer power of that moment?
And now the purpose is made crystal clear. God says, "Now I know that you fear me." Now this fear isn't terror. It's a deep, profound reverence. It's an awe-filled trust. Abraham had proven that nothing in this world,
Not even the miraculous son he loved more than life itself was enthroned in his heart above God. Abraham lifts his tear-filled eyes, and there, tangled in a thicket, is the fulfillment of his prophecy. God himself had provided the lamb, a substitute. A sacrifice was still required, but God provided it. The ram was waiting in the wings all along, revealed only at the moment of absolute faith.
And to mark this sacred ground, Abraham gives it a name that would echo through eternity: Jehovah Jireh. The Lord will provide. This is so much more than a name. It's a promise. It's a testament for every generation that our God sees our need and he provides exactly what is needed at the perfect time.
But the story doesn't end with relief. It ends with blessing. Because of Abraham's staggering obedience, God doesn't simply restore what was promised. He magnifies it. He meets this ultimate act of faith with an ultimate, sworn, and unbreakable covenant blessing. Just consider the magnitude of this blessing. God swears by himself. That's the highest oath possible. He promises Abraham descendants as uncountable as the stars in the heavens and the sand on the seashore. He promises them victory. And in the most profound promise of all, he declares that through Abraham's offspring, all nations on earth would be blessed, a promise pointing right down the corridors of time to the coming of the Messiah, Jesus Christ.
And why this incredible outpouring? Well, God himself gives the reason, and it is beautifully simple. It all comes down to one thing: because you have obeyed me. Abraham's faith was never just a private feeling. It was a visible, costly action. And that obedient action unlocked a torrent of generational blessing.
And so, this ancient story from a desolate mountaintop travels through the millennia to ask us a question today. Abraham was asked to place his most precious promise upon the altar. God may not ask for such a literal sacrifice from us, but he does ask for that same heart of surrender. He asks for our complete trust. So the question the story leaves echoing in our hearts is this: what is on your altar? In what area of your life is God asking for your complete trust, your own Jehovah Jireh moment, believing that he will provide?